Hello, church family. Hope you're having a good day, good week. Hope you're all staying safe. Uh, Today we're going to jump back into our series on seniors in the Bible, the good examples that we can find. I know we took a week off last week. I hope you enjoyed hearing what Rachel had to say. I know I really did. I've been asking her for a couple weeks if she'd be willing to put something together to share. Um, so I hope that you appreciated that, and I hope you're okay that I'm back instead of Rachel. Um, Maybe if you send her a note of encouragement, we can get her um, to speak again. I'm going to get myself in trouble if I keep talking about that. Instead, today we've got um, next installment of our series on seniors. We've looked at Caleb and Joshua. We looked at Simeon and Anna. I'm going to try to not take so long getting to the point on this one. Um, I respect your time, and even though I get excited about these subjects, I don't want to ramble on too long. So today I want to look at maybe not one of the first names that you think of with seniors in the Bible, but maybe somebody that can really serve as both a good lesson and a good warning, all in one, on the ways that we respond to the hard things, the ways we respond to um, heartbreaks and tragedies and disappointments. And of course, the longer you live, the more opportunity you have to have these hard times. And for some, those hard times can um, build us up and make us a blessing to others, make us um, very valuable and pleasant to be around because of what we can share. For some, it can make us very bitter. I know we probably have all known a great many pleasant seniors, and unfortunately, we probably have all known a great many bitter seniors as well. Life has a way of doing that to many, um, to making us beaten down. And that brings us to the senior in the Bible that we're looking at. Today we're looking at Naomi. And if you know some of the background of the book of Ruth, where Naomi is a prominent character, you might know where I got those descriptions we started off talking about there. Um, Naomi is a woman who had many disasters happen in her life, many trials, many struggles. We don't know exactly how old she was, but we know she was a little later in life because she was a widow um, who not only lost her husband but her two sons who were also married. So she was old enough to have adult children. She was a widow, and she was feeling very alone. Um, Naomi's name means pleasant. The Hebrew word Naomi means pleasant. Uh, but after going through what she experienced, she didn't want to be called that anymore. She said, please call me Mara. Don't call me pleasant anymore. Mara means bitter. She said, I have received only bitterness from the Lord. Said, I went away full and I came back empty. And she's not entirely wrong. She had reason to be bitter, just like um, when you think of the people that you know who have become bitter. It has happened for a reason. Very few people look to be bitter. She had a lot to be bitter about. She had lost her husband. She lost her children. Um, when she told her daughters-in-law that they might as well go home to their families because they're better off there, one of them did not slow down on the way out the door agreeing with her. Ruth stayed, and we focus a lot on Ruth staying, um, but it could not have felt good when the other left. And it's right after that when, even though Ruth had pledged that she would stay with her and go back to her land and take care of her, um, you can understand the bitterness that Naomi was feeling. But what we can see in the book of Ruth is that even though she had every reason to feel bitter, and even to act bitter perhaps, we would hope that one wouldn't, but we can understand where it comes from, she didn't stay that way. In fact, the book never calls her Mara again. It goes right back to calling her Naomi. And we can see in the things that she did why pleasant is a much better name for this woman than bitter. Because even though she had a very low point, she didn't stay there. When Naomi became a blessing to her family, however small, and to her community. And she utilized some traits about her that often come with age. First, we see Naomi is very knowledgeable about the law, which is, of course, a very special thing for an Israelite, because the law is not just legal code. The law is one's connection with God. The law says that it's going to be a blessing to everyone who can follow it. The law shows the right way to live your life from day to day, to seek after holiness and try to please God. And it involves the way you work, the way you eat, the way that you go about your relationships. And Naomi understood these things. She knew that she could send Ruth to go glean as a widow, as a foreigner. She was within her rights to go and gather the leftovers in the fields, and so she sent Ruth to go do that. And when she found out uh, about about Boaz, she knew the steps to take. And while Ruth did a great many faithful things to uh, to carry out the events of the book, without Naomi understanding and without Naomi knowing what was needed and knowing what was accepted and knowing what was possible under the law, none of it happens. Uh, so her wisdom in her study and her experience uh, were very much a blessing to her family and to her extended community through the marriage that came um, uh, in the end of the book. And her knowledge of the family, I think, is another thing that should not be overlooked as a blessing for seniors. Um, when when you get older, you know a lot of people, and your family gets big. Um, well, I remember when I came to Romeo, um, Don joked that there were two women in the congregation that were related to everyone in Romeo between the two of them. He said the whole town is related to one of these two women, jokingly. And, we laugh about that. But there's some truth to the networking and the family connections and the relationships that are developed only over time. Naomi heard the name Boaz and she connected those dots and she said, that's family. She said, that's someone who can help. Here's what you do. So she took those relationships and that family web of relationships and her knowledge of the law and said, do this, and now go do this, and here's what's going to happen, and here's how we're going to be blessed. And they were. Naomi was a pleasant woman. Naomi was a blessing. She was not bitter. She was not Mara. There's a reason that she said, call me this, and nobody did. And in the end of the book, we see her holding her grandson. Said she scooped up the boy and she took care of him. We see her love shown for her grandson there. We see that even though Ruth pledged to serve and to help Naomi as an older widow, we see Naomi turning the blessing on her. We see Naomi taking care of family, of the child, of the widow of her son. She didn't get stuck being bitter. It's hard to picture someone scooping up a grandchild and taking care of them and playing and looking at that as somebody is bitter. You know, there are a lot of things in life that try to give us permission to become bitter. There's going to be hardships, and there's going to be loss, and there's going to be disappointment, even tragedy. We're dealing with something unique right now. We've talked a lot about the good that has been coming and the ways that people have been responding. And I think there's been a lot more pleasantness than bitterness going around right now. And I pray for all of our seniors, especially since this is our subject right now, that your life experiences, even the tragedies, can lead you to not look at the world bitterly, to not respond by saying, God has only given me bitterness. Because there's so much in those experiences that can be blessings, that can be very, very pleasant. We can learn that from Naomi. We only see a very small glimpse of her life, but we see her acting faithfully. We see her acting lovingly. We see her acting wisely. We see her being a very, very pleasant woman. And that is a valuable lesson that we can find in our Bibles from a senior. That's all I have for today. We will look into a different example next week. I hope you have been enjoying this series. I appreciate the feedback when I get it. If you have any other ideas, please leave them in the comments or give me a call or send me a note. I love interacting with all of you, even when it's over distance right now. But still, this is family stuff. This is community stuff. This is something we work on together. So please let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any ideas. For now, I leave you with the words of 3 John. I hope to see you soon, and we will speak face to face. Peace to you.